joke.
Come on now.
Talking shit in my city.
You know how it is. Your city? Your city?
Yeah, my city.
You don't think I'm gonna hit you with that left hook?
No.
But many fighters like you. I thought that was
go for it. Go on,
yeah, you go for it. You go for it. You go for it. You're the one that started that shit.
Come on, you go for it.
You punching people's heads in. You and Ryan got in it on X the other day. You said he lacks heart and you're gonna make him quit.
Yeah.
You know,
That's not speculation. That's facts. We've seen it. As soon as he gets on top, as soon as he gets a bit rough in there, he don't like it. You know, so I'll go in there and I'll show him. I'll show him what I'm like. Who wanna do shit? Who wanna do shit? Who wanna do shit? Who wanna do shit? Yeah, who wanna do shit? Who wanna do shit? Yeah, cool. Wait till I smash you up. Wait till I smash you up and make you quit. Wait till I smash you up and make you quit.
Yeah, why?
Make you quit.
Hey, you won't make me the fight. Your dad knows you won't make me the fight. Your dad knows you won't make me the fight.
You quit. You have no heart.
Conor Benn erupts at Ryan Garcia after a tense, disrespectful TOF face interview. Benn dismisses Garcia as a little influencer and makes it clear he is not overly concerned about his opponent. The exchange quickly becomes heated as both fighters trade verbal shots and intensify the build-up to their upcoming clash.
He's like a big child, he's like a spoiled brat, throws his toys out of the pram on social media, throwing little tantrums. I'm not really too concerned about this little influencer to my right. He ain't a fighter. He can say whatever he wants. It ain't gonna make no difference come September the 12th. Proven. Yeah, 12-round war proven. I don't quit, I don't stay down.
He's not going to make it 12. There's not going to be a 12-round war, I promise you that.
I don't stay down on one knee.
Look at his hair, bro. He's looking for attention. Look at his hair. He's looking for attention. He ain't going to make it past 12, I promise you. This not be a 12-round war. He's not good enough. He's not good enough to beat me. You think this man's going to beat me? You think I'm going to let a guy from the UK come here and beat me and take my belt? You lost your mind.
Listen, Ryan. Calm down, you're having one of them little episodes. Calm down. I know you're getting all excited. I know you're getting all excited, but I'll come over here and smack them glasses straight off your face.
Both fighters come face-to-face during the heated press conference. As the verbal exchanges become increasingly intense, the tension quickly rises when Benn and Garcia stand face-to-face, refusing to back down. Their confrontation adds even more drama to the build-up, with both fighters making it clear they are ready for war.
That's what I'll do. Sitting there.
You won't do shit. I promise you won't do shit. I promise you won't do shit.
You're not Mexican, bro. You're not Mexican, bro. You ain't got the heart.
Making a bet.
Yo tengo huevos más grandes que tú, cabrón.
Making a bet.
¡Me la pelas, pendejo! ¡Me la pelas!
Making a bet.
¿Qué vas a hacer? ¿Qué vas a hacer? ¿Qué vas a hacer tú, cabrón? ¿Qué vas a hacer? ¿Hacer algo? Es que tú no vas conmigo para Londres, pendejo. Pendejo, va conmigo para Londres, tú ya lo sabes.
The face-to-face interview quickly turned heated as both fighters exchanged verbal shots. In the interview, the British fighter Conor Benn pointed at himself and said, 12-round war proven. I don't quit. I don't stay down on one knee. This was a reference to Garcia's 2023 loss to Gervonta Davis. Garcia fired back by saying, Benn's not going to make it to 12. He's not good enough. He further said, you think I'm going to let a guy from the UK come here and beat me and take my belt? You've lost your mind. Benn continued his verbal attack by telling Garcia, wait till I smack you up and make you quit. You have no heart. You're not Mexican, bro. The tension between Conor, Benn, and Ryan Garcia continued to rise as the two fighters took their rivalry to X. Benn fired the first shot, directly calling out Garcia and making his intentions clear. Benn stated, you talk too much. I'm going to smash your head in. In response, Garcia stated, I told you in person you aren't a good enough fighter to beat me. You forced yourself in this position. I will show the lesson of rushing into something you just aren't ready for. Crawford's prediction adds another interesting layer to the build-up, especially given his experience at the highest level of boxing. With both fighters refusing to back down, the final answer will have to come when they finally meet inside the ring.
I'll let you go in a second, but just curious, Shakur, Ryan Garcia, Conor Benn, Ryan Garcia, they're all kind of like you know, circling each other right now. It seems like right now, it seems like Ryan versus Conor. That's what it seems like. How do you think that fight goes?
I think that's a good fight. I think, of course, Ryan got the experience, but I think Conor got the size and the power, and I think that it's going to be an interesting fight moving forward.
Okay. Do you have a pick?
I'm going to go with Conor.
Really?
Go with Conor.
For real?
I think you're going to upset him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people picking Conor.
I'm going to pick him just because.
Just
I'm going to go out there
all right.
and pick him.
Wow. Okay.
Terran Crawford stated on X, "Ryan Garcia, you might get knocked out. You better be training and taking this fight serious." Tony Bello and Josh Taylor discuss the upcoming Ryan Garcia versus Conor Benn matchup while examining whether Benn is truly ready for a fight of this magnitude. Bello gives Benn the benefit of the doubt after his recent performance, pointing out that the British fighter has been competing at 160 pounds before having to come back down to 147. He explains that losing around 10 pounds of muscle can have an effect on the body and that Benn needs time to adjust before performing at his best. However, Bello remains unconvinced that Benn is currently operating at Garcia's level. He questions whether Benn genuinely merits the matchup and suggests that the commercial appeal is a major reason the fight is happening.
I think Conor Benn is far better than people think, but he's what I will say to you is he's not shown he's at Ryan Garcia's level. That's one thing.
Yeah. I don't think he's shown that he's worthy of a fight of that magnitude. Other than massive revenue and massive sort of commercially, but he has done well and he has improved a hell of a lot. Like I genuinely think he has improved a lot. But then going off that last performance against Prograis, I thought, wow,
he did look like a different
fight.
fighter.
It was terrible. But then I got to say, he got to give him benefit of the doubt as well. He's been up at 160. He's had to then come back down to 147. I think he weighed in at 149 or maybe something like that, 150. But again, it's taken that 10 kilos of, you know, or 10 pounds of muscle off, you know, and that has an effect on your body. You've got to give your body time to adjust to pulling that off and be able to perform.
The discussion then shifts toward Garcia's unpredictability. Bellew believes that if both fighters perform at their absolute best, Garcia should be considered the clear favorite. However, he warns that Garcia can be difficult to predict, meaning the outcome could change depending on which version of Garcia enters the ring. The analysts also acknowledge Benn's chances, particularly his fitness, pressure, and ability to maintain a strong pace across 12 rounds. His recent performances have also shown improved discipline and an ability to follow a game plan, making him a genuine threat if Garcia is not at his best.
If I got to the final, I become not only a world champion. If I get to the final, I get the chance to become a unified world.
Duke McKenzie questions whether Conor Benn can find success against Ryan Garcia, especially given the challenges surrounding his return to the 147 pounds division. McKenzie points out that Benn has not boxed at 147 for 4 years and suggests that struggling to make weight could take away from his performance. Music. He also believes Garcia has developed significantly since becoming champion and has gained valuable experience against higher-level opposition. While Garcia has not won every fight, McKenzie highlights the quality of opponents he has faced and believes they are stronger than the competition Benn has previously beaten. He acknowledges Benn's success outside the ring, but remains doubtful about his chances against Garcia.
Conor has not boxed at 147 for 4 years. And when you're trying to make weight and you have to drag to make weight, takes away your A game. Even his A game, I'm not so sure would beat Ryan Garcia, because Garcia is a much improved champion now. Since getting that belt wrapped around his waist, I think he's a much improved champion. He's mixed at a higher level. All right, he hasn't won all of his fights, Garcia, but he's beaten some quality fighters that are much better than Conor Benn. I mean, Conor's done a great job in terms of A, getting paid, and B, talking himself into a world title fight. I don't know who does that. I don't know who's done that previously, but he's managed to do it. Now, for him to beat Ryan Garcia, it will take more than just, it's going to take more than just boxing skill, and it's going to take more than just a big punch. I don't think Conor Benn's going to be physically strong enough because I think it'd be weight drained. I'm not making excuses for him, you understand, but I think it'd be weight drained before the fight, because I think they don't have a weight stipulation where they can put on as much as they want after the weight.
Spencer Oliver questions why Conor Benn remains so determined to compete at 147 pounds despite the obvious challenges involved with making weight. He points out that Benn has not fought at the weight for 4 years and believes the opportunity for a major payday is a major reason behind the decision. Oliver also highlights Benn's performance against Regis Prograis, where he weighed around 150 pounds and appeared to lose some of his punching power compared with his fight against Chris Eubank Jr. at 160. He suggests that losing the final few pounds can be extremely demanding and could have a significant impact on Benn's performance.
Spectres up there in terms of Boots and Josh Kelly, so he doesn't have an easy pathway there. But why do you boys think, and jump in when you want, that he's made it so unequivocal that he has to fight at 147, given what we've all just said about weight drain and coming back down to that weight again?
Because the opportunity was there at 147. He was made WBC #1 and he was mandatory there, even though he hadn't made the weight, as Duke said, for 4 years, which was absolutely absurd. But the opportunity was there, the big payday is there, and in Conor Benn's head, he'll be saying, yeah, I can still make 147, but I'm with Duke. The reality is he made 150 against Regis Prograis. The punch power had clearly left him down at 150 to what it was against Chris Eubank at 160. And I think dropping that last 3 pounds, as you guys know, making weight and how difficult that is, that last 3 pounds to the normal guy is like losing 3 stone. And it will take a lot out of him.
Toll.
The reality is, I think we saw against Regis Prograis, 147 is going to be difficult for Conor.
Wade Clemens breaks down the growing rivalry between Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn, explaining that the tension between the two fighters has been building for much longer than the current fight announcement. He points back to their first notable interaction at the Ring Magazine Awards in January 2025, when the two fighters already exchanged playful but competitive remarks. At that stage, there was no fight scheduled, but Benn's aggressive personality was already clear. Clemens explains that Benn rarely appears relaxed around other fighters and always seems ready for confrontation. He believes Garcia understands this side of Benn and may be deliberately pushing his buttons during their recent interactions.
Ryan Garcia winning this fight, I do think that he's on a different level. But again, a rivalry creates the best in both fighters. And with Conor Benn, he will, I think, fight up to his level of competition, which will make him dangerous. Again, we'll see what the power is at 147, but Ryan's been hit on the chin, been dropped. There is something there. They're both power punchers. I do think it fits Ryan's style that Conor is so, fast twitch, and he has to do all these massive, exaggerated movements behind his jab and his right hand. It leaves openings for the quick left hook from Ryan and the right hand from Ryan. But I think all this plays right into what Ryan wants. Ryan wants him to get emotional. Ryan wants him to come after him so he can get on that back foot, throw that chest.
The discussion then turns toward Garcia's approach at the press conference. Clemens suggests that Garcia is using psychological tactics to get under Benn's skin and potentially make him react emotionally. He compares the situation to Benn's previous rivalry with Chris Eubank Jr., where the heated exchanges appeared to affect the emotional dynamic between the two fighters. Clemens questions whether Garcia is attempting to create the same situation with Benn by continuing to provoke him before they finally step into the ring. The rivalry is clearly becoming more personal, adding another layer of intrigue to their upcoming matchup.
Ryan really cares about that anymore. I think it really messed with him as a kid, as he was coming up in boxing, that he wasn't Mexican enough. But this is on Mexican Independence Day. Maybe Conor Benn can go full on wear, do the Floyd Mayweather thing and wear the Mexican flag, and I'm here fighting for the Mexican people. That might get Conor a bit of a cheer. That might get him a bit more of some fans, because right now it seems like everybody's rooting against Conor, which seems like that happens in most of his fights. But it also might get under Ryan's skin if he goes that route. Really play into the fact that Ryan's not a true Mexican, that he doesn't speak Spanish, that he has no heritage in that he's one of these American talking, social media fighters that ain't really about it. He's kind of doing that. He's not falling for the bait right now. And instead, it's Conor who's getting baited just because Ryan opens his mouth. That's all he has to do is say, you're not good enough to beat.
Ariel Helwani discusses the growing excitement around Ryan Garcia versus Conor Benn, describing it as an entertaining matchup with plenty of intensity and personality. He He highlights the heated interactions between the two fighters, including their exchanges in Spanish, which added another entertaining element to the build-up. Helwani also points out that both fighters' fathers were involved during the event, adding to the atmosphere surrounding the confrontation. While he acknowledges that there are arguably more accomplished opponents Garcia could face in a WBC welterweight title defense, he believes Benn brings something different to the matchup.
The crowd was great. This is the type of fight that you can bring to a Fanatics Fest type of crowd, and they'd be into it. So the energy was great. Conor Benn busting out the Spanish was a nice little wrinkle. He spends a lot of time in Spain. His Spanish is great, by the way. And I don't know if Ryan speaks Spanish fluently like Conor does, but clearly Conor can hang, so that was fun. The two fathers being up there as well. Henry Garcia kind of got into the shot there, and you could tell Dana didn't love that. He was trying to get him to move away. All good. Nigel Benn there as well. Listen, is it the purest fights, the purest fight fans fight? Maybe not. Are there other people that you would want to see Ryan fight against as far as like a WBC welterweight title defense? Yeah, sure. But this is a fun fight, man. This is a fun fight. It's great for Mexican Independence Day weekend. It's going to be interesting how the UFC is going to do with Noche UFC. I suspect they'll put Noche earlier in the day to lead into.
According to Helwani, Benn may not be considered a top-tier boxer compared with some of the other names available to Garcia, but he brings tremendous energy, aggression, and excitement. That makes the matchup particularly appealing because both fighters are known for their willingness to engage and create action.
Better boxers than Conor Benn that I would rather see Ryan Garcia fight, but as far as like matching his intensity, matching his energy, and Conor Benn is not a top tier boxer of the level that some of these guys that are, the conversation is happening around. But as far as bringing the fight, as far as excitement, as far as energy, like Conor Benn is all of that. And so I love Garcia versus Benn.
It's also the fraud check, right? Like in terms of when Conor Benn signed for Zuffa, the talk from the UK, I remember Dave Allen was on TalkSport and he was like, this guy is the best match fighter of all time. Like, this feels like, okay, well, he's not going to be able to hide in there against Ryan Garcia.
No.
This is going to be an absolute check of his skill. And a lot of people feel like, with the likes of Pro Gray and even the Eubank fights, he was always put in the favourable position. So very interested to see how it goes, just in terms of the fight as well as all this stuff.
And there's also a lot of questions about the actual fight itself. Conor didn't look great in his last fight. Ryan looked amazing. Prior to that, Ryan didn't look great. Conor looked amazing. And so it feels very Jekyll and Hyde-ish. I'm very curious to see who turns.
Simon Jordan gives an honest reaction to this matchup, focusing on the dangers Benn could face against Garcia. Jordan questions whether Benn is prepared for the level of challenge in front of him and suggests that Garcia's ability could create serious problems. The discussion highlights the difference in experience and quality between the two fighters while acknowledging that Benn remains a dangerous opponent with the physicality and determination to make the fight competitive. Jordan's blunt assessment adds another layer of intrigue to the build-up, especially as questions continue surrounding Benn's chances against Garcia.
For a matchup with Conor Benn, who's also signed to Zuffa, but how long before we see Ben Shakur?
Listen, Conor Benn comes through against Ryan Garcia, you'll see that sooner rather than later. That's for sure.
Huge.
Absolutely. So is this fight that Conor's going into now. Until right. Conor can establish himself as a world champion, Shakur Stevenson is a pound-for-pound star. They both signed with Zuffa Boxing. I don't know how Zuffa Boxing is going to get that money back, by the way. If the rumours are right that I'm hearing, and Shakur Stevenson signed a deal, a 9-figure deal, £100 million, I'm hearing, somewhere around that part, or $100 million. How do they get that sort of money back? That is a big signing. Yeah, he's a great little fighter, but perhaps you need that dance partner, and that dance partner is Conor Benn.
Right. We'll see. 100 million.
Lost leader, isn't it? Brings other people in.
Eddie Hearn points out the internal disagreement surrounding the co-promotion between Zuffa Boxing and Oscar de la Hoya. He explains that while working together may not be ideal for everyone involved, co-promotions are simply part of how boxing operates. Hearn suggests that Dana White would not normally choose to work with De La Hoya, but the business side of boxing can force promoters into situations they would not necessarily choose themselves. He also highlights the contradictions surrounding world championship fights and governing bodies, arguing that promoters cannot completely distance themselves from the organizations that control major titles. Earn further defends Mauricio Sulaiman and the WBC, emphasizing their importance to boxing despite disagreements with some of their decisions.
Green card to start with co-promoted by Oscar and Zuffa. Then they said they're not doing any world championship fights. In fact, Nick Khan stood on the stand to try and abolish the Muhammad Ali Act and belittled Mauricio Sulaiman, who, I'll say one thing really important. Whatever you think about Mauricio Sulaiman, let me tell you something now. He is boxing through and through, right? I know because I've lived the same life. I've been around boxing since I was 7 years old. So don't start thinking that I don't care about the sport. And Mauricio's the same. Mauricio's dad was so influential in the world of boxing. Mauricio's grown up in that household. Now, I don't agree with every decision Mauricio Sulaiman makes, but he's integral to boxing, and more so is the WBC World Championship. And these guys stood on a stand and tried to belittle that organisation and tell everybody they were crooked and they were disgrace to fighters and blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? On September the 12th, Mauricio Sulaiman will be in the ring on their show. And they'll all have to be with him. And they'll all have to pay homage to the WBC Championship. Because you can't just get rid of these.
That's it for today's video.
So stay tuned.
Until next time.